Hey everyone, it's the Diplomat, and we are on part 33 of the Chris Watts Discovery read-through. And in this, we are starting on page 713. So in this part, we are going to go through an interview with Charlotte, who's the friend of the Mistress, as well as some texts between them. And then also we are going to go into some interesting information regarding Trent and Damian. Trent was the fellow that claimed to have a relationship and was interviewed by CBI. Okay, so starting on page 713, we get into a CBI report with Charlotte. This is the friend of the Mistress that has been mentioned several times in the previous interviews with the Mistress. This occurred on September 6th, 2018 at 3:31 p.m. until 3:59. This was conducted by Agent Stacy Galbraith, and it just lists Charlotte as a witness. Okay. Synopsis. On September 5th, 2018, I was asked to assist by speaking with Charlotte. Charlotte is a friend of the Mistress, and the two exchanged text messages about the relationship between the Mistress and Chris Watts. I was provided a packet of text messages involving, and then it lists the phone number, which I was advised was that of Shanann Watts. Action taken. The texting is on August 12th. I am not certain of the time zone in which the records are formatted. Some of the content is undecipherable. Based upon the numbers, it is difficult to say for sure if the texts are from the Mistress or Charlotte, but the content lends to context and the author. Okay, so this is the text messages between the Mistress and Charlotte, starting with the Mistress. Been kinda hanging out with a guy recently, keeping it a secret. Dude loves to eat pussy. Never met a man who does till now. I just let it happen, LOL. Where did you meet this man? I don't know, man. Sean never ate me out my one time. Charlotte, I don't think it's you, man. Some guys are lame with that stuff. Mistress, feel like every dude I meet has kids these days, and if they don't, they have commitment issues or some BS like Sean. Charlotte, what's the dude's name? Kids are cute, Mang. It's a package deal, though. That's awesome, Mang. M-E-N-G. I don't know what that is. That's maybe what she calls her. Back to the Mistress. The fact he takes care of his kids is a good thing, I think. He's all about his kids. That's cool. How old are they? How old is he? 33, I think. I just feel like I will always be second place, like he's been there, done that. It's early, though. We will see. He is very kind to me, though. And he works out, so he's super sexy. Don't tell nobody. I haven't made up my mind on him yet. Like, he seems too good to be true. Haha, yeah, it's the best sex I've ever had. I'm hooked. I think he really likes me. On September 6th, at about 15:59, which is 3:59 p.m., I received a call from Charlotte. I had left Charlotte a message on August 5th and texted her on August 6th, prior to her call to me. Charlotte met the Mistress in high school. They were not as close then as they are now. Charlotte moved to Aruba and moved back around 2006, and she and the Mistress got in contact. The Mistress is Charlotte's best friend. They text a lot, but do not see each other but maybe once every month or two. Charlotte knew why I would be contacting her. I asked how this case is sitting with her. She told me it is a horrible situation and is very upsetting. She is worried about the Mistress. Charlotte said that the Mistress got caught up with the wrong person at the wrong time, and it is just devastating. I asked if Charlotte knew that the Mistress had been dating Chris Watts. Charlotte explained that the Mistress was working as a contractor for Anadarko. The Mistress had told Charlotte that she was seeing a guy at work at some point. The Mistress did not say who, and Charlotte never met him. Charlotte saw news about this case and heard that the guy worked at Anadarko, and Charlotte wondered if the Mistress knew the guy. The mistress then called Charlotte and let her know that the media may try to get in contact with her about the case. Charlotte said that the mistress said she could not discuss much about the case with her. Charlotte told me that her father died a couple of weeks ago and she had been drinking a lot to deal with things right now. Charlotte said that she looked back and the mistress had sent her a photo of the mistress and the guy she was seeing. Charlotte agreed to go back through her text messages and screenshot the communication she has with the mistress. The mistress had told Charlotte that the guy she was seeing had a couple kids. Charlotte knew the mistress to like kids, and she seemed in favor of it. The mistress said he was a really nice guy, and she did not seem to mind that he had kids. Charlotte said that she did not say much, as she tends to let people live their lives. Charlotte did not think it was smart of the mistress to date someone she worked with, since she liked her job there. But Charlotte did not tell the mistress that. I asked if the mistress spoke of the guy's marital status to Charlotte. The mistress did not at that time, but she has since told Charlotte that the guy had told the mistress that he was separated from his wife. The mistress did not provide Charlotte details of the relationship as to where they spent time, when they spent time, how they spent time, or if they were intimate. She said that she did not know and she did not ask. Charlotte said the mistress just got out of a relationship and Charlotte just lets her tell her what she wants to share. Charlotte described the mistress as private. I told Charlotte that I had some content from text messaging between her and the mistress. I read the one about it being the best sex the mistress has ever had and the one about oral sex. Charlotte reminded me that her dad died and she had been drinking heavily. She told me that she actually barely remembers the texts with the mistress. Charlotte told me that the mistress dates a lot and in the past she has not had the best of luck in the men she has dated, so Charlotte typically does not ask about details. I read the following text to Charlotte, starting with the mistress on August 12th. Feel like every dude I meet has kids these days, and if they don't, they have commitment issues or some BS like Sean. I asked Charlotte for some context to that text, as it seemed that a man with kids may be a negative thing based upon the words in the text alone. Charlotte said that she does not think that the mistress was against him having kids, and the mistress wants kids too. She has just had bad luck with men in her past. The mistress wants to find someone, and when she does, it turns out the guy is lying or something. The mistress seems to take it upon herself and feel like she is picking the wrong guys. Charlotte encourages the mistress that she will find someone. Charlotte does not think the BS part in the text was meant as a negative in that the mistress felt the guy having kids was negative. Charlotte did not think that the mistress actually met the guy's kids. She has no idea when or where the mistress and the guy hung out together. Charlotte figured that if it was working out, she would hear more about the guy from the mistress. The mistress did not tell Charlotte anything about the guy's wife in their texts. I asked how the mistress is doing. Charlotte told me that she is a mess and says she cannot say much about the case. Charlotte thinks the mistress feels partially responsible, as maybe he went crazy because she came into the picture. The mistress liked the guy. Charlotte thinks she needs a good therapist. I asked if there is any indication that the mistress may want to maintain a relationship with the guy. Charlotte says that the mistress wants to cooperate in the fullest to make sure he stays in jail. I thanked Charlotte for her time, and she agreed to send me screenshots of her texts with the mistress. Charlotte promptly got back with me on September 6th to provide. The following quote is from Charlotte. Hi, Agent Galbraith, this is Charlotte. I'm looking through my phone, and the latest text messages I have from the mistress start on August 21st, and we mostly talk about my dad passing away and my family issues, and also that she is concerned with the media. I probably deleted the whole conversation when the mistress asked me to delete pictures we have together on Facebook because the media was calling her friends to get information. I know about the text messages we talked about because yesterday evening I got your voicemail, and when the mistress came over later that night, I told her you had called, and that I wanted to verify that it was actually the CBI calling me, and not a scammer trying to get information. I asked her why you would be calling me, and she said it could be because of the texts we exchanged, and then she showed me. I'm sorry, I don't have any messages before that. Would you like me to still send you everything starting August 21st? Also, I left you a voicemail regarding a question I have. My question is if the text messages you have are going to be made public matter. I shared very personal information about mine and my boyfriend's intimate life, and I am concerned about what will be released. Please let me know or call me for any more questions. I responded, stand by on texts from the 21st. Let me consult my partner. Thank you for getting back on the matter. On September 7th, I attempted to clarify this with Charlotte. In quotes, I asked her why you would be calling me, and she said it could be because of the texts we exchanged, and then she showed me. I texted Charlotte and called her. The phone went straight to voicemail like it was off. On September 7th, Charlotte responded. She showed me the old text messages on her phone the night before last, September 5th, when she was here at my house. We had went to Verizon earlier on that same day so she could get a new phone since the one she had wasn't working well. It must be that the messages were backed up and transferred over to the new phone. FPD Detective Balmover is in possession of the phone of the Mistress, and potentially the texts will exist in it upon execution of a search warrant. Attachments. Text message packet provided for review. So there is no 719. We'll go to 720, and that is a CBI report from Matthew Saylor. It just says crime scene photographs are attached. There is no narrative for this report. And then 721 is not there. And on 722 we have another CBI report. Description: completed a law enforcement support packet for the Mistress. This was on August 15th by Jillian Ganley. And it just lists girlfriend as the Mistress. And it says, action taken. On August 15th, I, CBI investigative analyst Jillian Ganley, created a law enforcement support packet for the Mistress. The Mistress is the girlfriend of Chris Watts. The support packet was created so CBI agents, Frederick PD detectives, and FBI agents could locate and attempt to interview her. I researched criminal and public data sources to determine current address of subject, current contact information, employment history, and criminal history. I completed searches in CCIC/NCIC, TLO, Clear, Lumen, Ztext, CO Courts, Facebook, and Instagram. The information found was forwarded to AIC Kirby Lewis, FBI analyst Liz Dawson, and CBI agent Kevin Kobach, and was further disseminated from there. End of report. Attachments: law enforcement support packet, LPR search for the Mistress's vehicle, the Mistress's phone records received from Verizon Wireless on an exigency request. Then on page 724, it just lists a whole bunch of attachments, so surely that was regarding the packet. Next page, we just have a very brief memorandum from Holscher regarding CBI Supplemental 38. It says, per Kirby Lewis, CBI Supplemental 38 is not completed at this time, as it contains a timeline of events, and additional investigation is ongoing. So then we get down to page 727, and here we have a phone interview of Mark. This is CBI, a report on August 29th, and this was done by Matthew Saylor, and it just lists Mark as witness number 1. This was a phone interview. Action taken. On August 23rd at approximately 11:34 a.m., I, Matthew Saylor, interviewed Mark, friend of Chris Watts, over the telephone. The interview was audio recorded, and a copy of the recording is attached to this report. The following is a synopsis of the interview. For additional details, refer to the audio recording. Mark is in the Navy and is currently stationed in California. Mark stated he has been best friends with Chris for about 25 years. Mark said he has met Chris's wife Shanann Watts on several occasions, as well as their daughters Bella and Celeste. Mark said that he and Chris stay in contact via phone calls and text messages. Mark said he grew up with Chris in North Carolina. He said the last time he spoke with Chris was on the Tuesday before Chris's confession, August 14th, via text message. Mark said that he sent Chris a text saying he hoped everyone was okay and he knew that Chris was busy and to reach out to him if he needed anything. Mark said that Chris responded, saying thanks and that he had been very busy. Mark said prior to that he had a text message conversation approximately a week and a half before Shanann and the girls went missing, and he told Chris to reach out to him and talk to him. Mark said that Chris texted back, but he never called and they never saw each other. Mark said that he knew Chris was busy and that he had a lot going on with the family, such as Shanann and Chris's mom fighting again. Mark said Chris's mom, Cindy, called him about it, and that he was upset with Chris for letting this go on. Mark said that he told Chris that it had to stop, the fighting between Shanann and Cindy. Mark said Chris replied that he understood and told Mark that he and Shanann were going to separate and get a divorce. Mark told Chris that he was there if he needed to talk and told him to reach out to him some more, but Chris never did. Mark said that Shanann and Cindy were fighting over Celeste eating ice cream that Celeste was allergic to. Mark said that Cindy kicked Shanann out of the house. Mark said shortly after this, Cindy called him crying, worried that she had lost Chris because Shanann would turn Chris against her, as has happened in the past. Mark said that is what prompted him to reach out to Chris with the text message. Mark said that when Shanann and Chris were engaged, there was a huge fight between Shanann and Cindy, and everyone in Chris's family felt that Shanann was turning Chris against them. Mark said that initially Chris was taking Shanann's side, but that after a while Shanann and Chris's family made amends and patched up the relationship. Mark said that when this recent fight occurred, it was likely they were going back to square one. Mark said that Chris was initially taking Shanann's side with the most current fight, but that Cindy then contacted him and told him that Chris and Shanann were going to separate. Chris then told Mark in text messages that he had seen the true side of Shanann and was done with her, and didn't want to be with her anymore. Mark said that he told Chris that he knew this would be a big event in his life and to reach out to him. Chris told him that he would, but he never did. When asked what Chris meant about seeing the true side of Shanann, Mark said he didn't ask. Mark said that Chris's family has always seen Shanann as shady. Mark said he never saw it, but all of Chris's family believed that there was something about Shanann that was bad, and he believed Chris had finally seen what his family had been seeing. When asked what Chris's family saw in Shanann, Mark said that they felt she was very shady and had a dark past, such as sleeping with her old boss even when she was with Chris, and having money issues with her old boss. Mark said they told him they felt that Shanann was very conniving. Mark said that when he saw Shanann he didn't see that, and that she was very pleasant. Mark said he never trusted Shanann because of all the things that Chris's family were telling him, but that he never saw any of those things in Shanann himself. Mark said that Chris never specifically told him what was causing him to want to separate from Shanann, but that he told Chris about his conversation with Cindy and what Cindy was saying, and Chris confirmed that he had seen that side of Shanann and that he was done. Mark said that he hasn't seen a change in Chris recently in their conversations, but could see in his eyes that he was stressed and worn out. Mark said Chris has always been a nice guy with no signs of a dark side, and has always been a great friend. Mark said he saw Chris and Shanann in July in San Diego when they came out for a trip for Thrive. Mark said he drove to San Diego and saw them one day, and that Chris was the same as he's always been. When asked what his opinion of Shanann was, Mark said that initially he liked her. He said that when Chris first met her, he was very excited, and that he was excited for Chris. Mark said over the years Chris's family had an issue with her, and she had an equal issue with them. Mark said that he started to get the feeling that there was something to what they felt about Shanann, since they were closer to her than he was, as he was Chris's friend. Mark said that every time he was around them, Chris and Shanann were good, and Shanann never exhibited the traits that Chris's family saw. Mark said that he never saw what Chris's family did. Mark said Chris never told him about seeing the things in Shanann that his family did, but Mark never asked him about it either. Mark said that Chris has always been a quiet guy, and only opens up to people he is comfortable with. Mark said that Chris is the type of guy who would do anything for you, and that he's been there for him several times when he was going through things. Mark said that Chris is a good guy, and this is all a big shock. Mark said that Chris loved his daughters very much. Mark said that he has never seen a mean side to Chris. Mark said that Chris is very much like his mother, Cindy, and that they are both sweethearted people. When asked what ways Chris dealt with conflict and issues in his life, Mark said that he and Chris haven't talked as much over the last 2 or 3 years, but that if Chris was going through something serious, he would reach out to him. Mark said that Chris also had a lot of support and friends in Colorado that he spoke to more often than him. Mark said he believed Chris's routine was to go to work and take care of his family, and that was it. When asked, Mark said he didn't know who Chris's friends in Colorado were, and said he'd never met any of them. Mark said he didn't know of any other friends of Chris that we could talk to. Mark said he believed that a lot of people that Chris knew, he knew through Shanann, and they were her friends. When asked, Mark said he didn't have any other information that we should know, or know of anyone who we should talk to, other than Chris's family. I provided Mark with my contact information and advised him to contact me with any additional information. End of report. Attachments, audio recording of interview of Mark. So on next page 732, because 731 is missing, we have just Matthew Saylor. It says handwritten note, investigator notes. Investigators' handwritten notes are attached to this report. There's no narrative for this report. Okay, next, report for notes retention, August 21st, Kellen Hassenstab. On August 21st, Kellen Hassenstab, was forwarded an email from CBI agent in charge Kirby Lewis regarding a court order to preserve notes related to this investigation. On August 30th, I scanned and attached all of my handwritten notes related to this case to this supplemental report. In addition, the notes from AIC Lewis and analyst Jillian Ganley are also attached to this report. Nothing further, synopsis only. Okay, we're going up to the next page, CBI report, follow-up at the Lazy Dog on Discovery 736, as 735 is missing. Okay, this is also Matthew Saylor. This is on August 31st, and it occurred at the Lazy Dog Sports Bar and Grill. Action taken. On August 16th at approximately 14:50 hours, 2:50 p.m., I, Matthew Saylor, responded to the Lazy Dog Sports Bar and Grill located in Erie, Colorado. On August 11th, Chris Watts and his mistress ate dinner there sometime between 5 and 10 p.m. It was reported that Watts spent approximately $60 on a salmon dinner. Upon arrival, I observed video surveillance cameras throughout the restaurant. I contacted the on-duty manager, who advised me that the cameras belonged to an old system, and if they worked at all, they were simply live view and were not recording to anywhere. The manager told me he could search for and give me a copy of the receipt from Watts' transaction with the credit card number, specific time, or the credit card number, but with the limited information I had, he would be unable to locate it. I advised the manager that I would contact him if additional information that would enable us to locate the receipt was obtained, and he advised he would be more than happy to assist in any way he could. End of report. Okay, next is a CBI report. Tabby and Lee, FBI Chris Watts discovery. On August 30th, FBI shared a discovery disk with reports for CBI case inclusion, which will be added to the supplemental report. FBI Chris Watts discovery has the ID number there. This supplemental does not contain a narrative. Next, on page 739 is missing. We have a CBI report, interview with Damian. This is on August 30th at 11:25 a.m. until 11:50 a.m. This is by Stacy Galbraith. Listed there is Damian, and then also a Nancy, who is listed as an attorney. Next page is blank. That's 741, and then we'll get into the report on 742. Action taken. On August 30th, 2018, Agent Galbraith texted and left a voicemail for Damian. Damian called back at 11:25 a.m. Damian reported that he knows Trent from drug rehabilitation in 2011, and then Trent used Damian's social media photographs on a gay site without Damian's knowledge, which prompted, in quotes, "gay dudes from Grindr or something to start hitting me up," end quote. This was via Facebook Messenger 3 to 4 years ago. Damian learned that Trent came out as gay or bisexual at some point after rehab and started using Damian's pictures as his own and was talking to gay guys. Damian used Facebook Messenger to message Trent and told him to stop using his pictures or he would, in quotes, kick his ass and report him to the law enforcement. Trent swore up and down that he was not. At one point, a roommate or friend of Trent's confirmed to Damian that Trent had been in fact using Damian's photos as his own on sites. Damian had been under the impression that Trent stopped. Damian adamantly denied a sexual relationship or even a friendship with Trent. Damian had never even hung out with Trent. Damian insisted that he is not gay. He said that he is blunt, and if he was gay, he would be out and admitting he is gay. Damian said that he felt targeted and violated by Trent. He suggested that Trent must have had some sort of infatuation with him. Damian blocked Trent on Facebook. Damian called Trent a weird dude who sought attention from everyone at rehab. Damian said that this must be his effort at getting attention because he never had a relationship with Trent, and Trent never gave or sold Damian a cell phone. Damian said that in rehab he had no knowledge that Trent was gay and only realized it after Trent was using his photos for guys while pretending to be Damian. Damian was very confused as to why he was being contacted in the Chris Watts investigation. I explained to him that Trent took to social media and then media alleging a relationship with Chris Watts. I told him that Trent was interviewed by authorities and alleged a relationship with Damian too. Damian laughed and denied this, saying that Trent appears to tend to do that since he also alleged a relationship with Damian. Damian said that someone told his girlfriend that Trent said he had a relationship with Damian, which Damian adamantly denied. Damian said that it sounds like Trent runs around saying he had relationships with guys for attention. I asked if Trent lied to the CPI and FBI stating that Trent gave or sold Damian a cell phone at any point, and Damian said that it is a lie. Damian had no idea why Trent would have used Damian's name in his statement to authorities. He again stated that he is not gay and was not friends with, nor did he hang out with Trent. Damian said he is not gay and had never had sexual contact with another man. In quotes, "I'm not gay. I've never stuck my dick in a guy's butt." End quote. Damian knew about the Chris Watts case from the news. He knew it was, in quotes, the guy that murdered his wife and kids, end quote. That was all Damian knew about Watts. Damian had no information that Trent would have known Watts prior to media coverage of the case either. He alleged that Trent knows nothing about Chris Watts. Damian was at first not fully cooperative with questions, and he was confused as to his involvement in the matter. I explained that it is our duty to fully vet the credibility of information as it comes in pertaining to the case. He became cooperative and understood the reason for the call. He said that he would cooperate in any way he could. He agreed to meet at Cheyenne PD if needed. He assured me that Trent was lying about any relationship with him or giving him a cell phone. Damian lives in Cheyenne and works in an oil field. Interview concluded at about 11:50 a.m. Agent Lee subsequently talked with Trent by phone. He provided that Damian assaulted him in Gillette in 2016 and spent time at Trent's house and was observed by his mother there. On August 30th, Agent Galbraith, got back in touch with Damian by phone to inquire further. I asked if Damian possibly ever assaulted Trent in Gillette, Wyoming, and he denied that and told me that I could contact his lawyer for additional questions. Her name is Nancy. I called the number provided for Nancy, but it was an incorrect number. I researched Nancy online and located Humphrey & Associates with Nancy is Associated, located in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I left a message with the secretary on August 30th. She asked which client the call was pertaining to, and I provided last of Damian's, and the secretary said Damian, which I confirmed. The secretary said Nancy was in court but would return my call. At the writing of this report, I have not received a return call. I contacted the below-listed law enforcement agencies in Wyoming and requested their records for Trent and Damian. Okay, Gillette, Wyoming, PD. There are records for Damian but not Trent attached to this report. Cheyenne, Wyoming PD number, Campbell County number. There are no records. Sorry, there are records for Damian but not Trent for that county. Attachments, Gillette PD records and Campbell County records. Okay, next on page 746, as 745 is not there, we have a CBI report. This is the interview with Trent on August 29th at 3:45 p.m. to 8:30. It's quite a long time. This was done by Tammy Lee with backup of Graham Coder, and this is available online as well. Lists Trent as the witness. The synopsis reads, on Wednesday, August 29th, I, Tammy Lee, was informed of a potential witness who came forward and claimed he had a homosexual relationship with Chris Watts. Chris was arrested on Wednesday, August 15th, for the murder of his wife, Shanann, and 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste. The witness was initially identified through Facebook profile name as Trent. Action taken. On Wednesday, August 29th, I called FPD Detective Dave Baumover and spoke with him about Trent. I was aware Trent had made a post to the Facebook page, Chris Watts, accused killer of Shanann Watts and children, end quote. The post, which is attached to this report, was as follows, in quotes. So, I wanted to get on here because I've been getting Facebook messages and phone calls from people asking me how I knew Chris. Why I had relations with a married man, people trying to blackmail me and threatening to expose me. When I first got the call from authorities due to messages on an app he had on his phone, the last thing I wanted was my name out there. But after all this shit, I'd rather tell my side rather than someone else. I met Chris last summer. We had relations off and on from last June up until March or April. I found out he was married with kids in February. I didn't know that when we first met. Yes, things happened one more time, then I ended it. And this stupid witch hunt trying to find his, in quotes, mistress, and all the men and women he slept with is fucking ridiculous. The only thing we're guilty of is trusting a stranger. I can only speak for myself, but before this happened, I would have 100% told you that Chris isn't a murderer, nor a sociopath. He told me he was the victim of emotional and mental abuse and was stuck in a loveless marriage, but was so scared to leave because of Bella and Celeste. I could totally understand why anyone who had sexual relationships with Christopher would want to stay out of the public eye. Since I got the call and I was told what happened, I haven't slept more than an hour or 2 at a time at night. But like I said, the only thing I'm guilty of is trusting someone who seemed so kind-hearted and genuine, but I guess this is a life lesson. I'll always have to live with the fact that I had a relationship with a married man who is also a murderer and a sociopath. So the people messaging on Facebook, Twitter, etc., threatening to expose me, do it. I have nothing to hide. I just wanted to put this out there before someone else leaked my name. I'm sure there were multiple women, and I'm probably not the only man he slept with, but the whole thing is that none of the people he slept with owe the public anything. So all these things about #Mistress come forward is fucking ridiculous. You have no idea what I'm going through, let alone anyone else he slept with. So let's focus on getting to the bottom of what happened between the people involved with the crime and only them or him. I'm not up for any criminal charges, neither are any of the others. End quote. I was also aware Trent had given an anonymous interview to Ashley Banfield on her program Crime and Justice on Headline News. During the program, Trent indicated he had an almost 10-month affair with Chris Watts and had met Bella and Celeste. Detective Baumover requested I attempt to locate Trent and interview him regarding his alleged relationship with Chris Watts. I located a cell phone number for Trent and called to speak with him. I identified myself to Trent, who indicated, in quotes, everything has blown up, end quote. Trent explained he was a nurse and was currently working in Wyoming. Trent indicated he would be back in Fort Collins the following day and would come to the CBI for an interview. Trent requested I text him the address for my office. I asked Trent if he was okay, and he said he was getting drug around by social media. I asked Trent how long he knew Chris, and he indicated he has known Chris from June 2017 until March or April of 2018. I asked Trent if he already spoken to someone in law enforcement, and he said no. Trent said someone called him and lied to him, telling him they were affiliated with law enforcement, so he asked to meet them and see their credentials. I thanked Trent for speaking with me and disconnected the phone call. A short time later, I received another phone call from Trent. Trent indicated he had a producer on the other line during our previous phone call and didn't want them to know he was actually in Colorado. Trent advised he was staying in Fort Collins and advised he could meet with me later the same day. I advised Trent I had a meeting at the FPD at 1:30 p.m., and then I would drive to Fort Collins to meet with him. At 3 p.m., I called Trent and asked him to meet myself and FBI Special Agent Graham Coder at the Larimer County Sheriff's Office, which was located in Fort Collins, Colorado. Trent agreed and arrived at approximately 4 p.m. S.A. Coder and I interviewed Trent inside a private recorded interview room at the Sheriff's Office. Please review S.A. Coder's report for full details on the interview with Trent. During the interview, Trent indicated he had messages from Chris during the time they had known each other. I took screenshots of the messages, which are attached to this report. At the end of the interview, Trent was offered a polygraph. Trent advised he would possibly take a polygraph, but he would need to speak with his lawyer first. At approximately 8:30 p.m., S.A. Coder and I left the sheriff's office. At 10:17 p.m., Trent called me and advised his boyfriend had just kicked him out of the house. Trent said he returned home after his interview and admitted to his boyfriend that he was a male escort. Trent said he figured he had to admit it since it was most likely going to be published in the news and because Chris had already admitted details about their relationship during his previous interview. Trent said his boyfriend got upset and told him to leave. Trent said he was going to stay in a hotel for the night, but would like a civil standby to collect his property the following day. I told Trent to call the Fort Collins Police Department and request a civil standby. On Thursday, August 30th, 2018, at 11:06 a.m., I tried to call Trent. Trent did not answer, and the message indicated his mailbox was full, so I could not leave a message. At 1 p.m., Trent returned my phone call, and we spoke about Damian. Note: CBI agent Stacy Galbraith conducted a phone interview with Damian earlier the same day, and Damian was adamant he hadn't seen Trent in 3 to 4 years and had never had any sort of relationship with him. I asked Trent to describe Damian, and he advised Damian was approximately 6 feet tall, in quotes, kind of muscular build, and used to work on the oil rig. Trent stated Damian was also getting a lot of money from his family and told him at one point that Damian was working as a heavy equipment operator. Trent said he and Damian dated on and off for approximately 4 years. I asked Trent if Damian identified as gay, and he said no. Trent said he recently learned Damian was with a woman. I asked Trent about the last time he spoke to Damian, and he said Damian contacted him 2 to 3 weeks prior and asked how he was doing. Trent said Damian had also been to his parents' home in Casper, Wyoming, which his parents could verify. Trent said Damian talked to him about wanting to purchase a new truck. I asked Trent to explain the domestic between he and Damian, and Trent said it occurred around 2016 in Gillette, Wyoming. Trent said the incident occurred at a gas station and Damian tried to rip him out of the passenger window of a vehicle. Trent said the employees at the gas station called the police, and Damian told Trent he had been charged with a crime related to the incident. I asked Trent if his parents could confirm Damian had visited their residence within the past year, and he said yes. Trent said his father would most likely not talk to the police because he was old-fashioned, but his mother would probably be willing to speak with me. Trent said he would call his mother first and make sure she was okay with him giving the CBI her information. Trent called back a short time later and advised his mother said it was fine. Her name was Colleen. I thanked Trent and disconnected the phone call. At approximately 3:10 p.m., I received a phone call from Trent, who advised he had received an email from the Colorado Public Defender's Office, more specifically Brooke Mendoza. Trent said Mendoza indicated she represented Chris and wanted to speak with him. Trent asked me if he should speak with her, and I advised him I could not provide him legal advice and he would have to make that decision on his own. Trent said he understood my position, but he did not feel like speaking with them. Attachments: audio interview with Trent, part 1 and 2, initial phone call with Trent, and then 3 different images. So that's where we're going to end part 33, finishing up page 749. A few things that we see in here. We see again more deletion of text messages with Charlotte and various inconsistencies or potential inconsistencies with stories. I'm sorry, but if my friend came to me after something like this had happened and started asking me to delete texts, I would tell them hell no. But, I think Charlotte was semi-coerced, where the mistress used the idea of the media knowing that she was a friend, so that was a way she got her to delete some things. It's just more odd behavior. This is not how completely innocent people behave. And as far as the Trent and Damian situation, I don't necessarily want to comment on all the content, but it's a little surprising, I'll admit, to see how much time and energy was spent on Trent. I guess 5 hours of interviews, calls to Damian, even calls to Trent's lawyer. A lot of effort was spent here, you can tell, and it's just surprising that much was spent here, but not with the mistress's friend Jim. So it was just it's surprising to see. It's unfortunate, but we can hope that more interviews are going to be happening in that realm. We will see. In loving memory of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico, we're sending you our love, and the Rusek family. God, please look over them, guide them, and let them know that they have our love and support. This is The Diplomat. Have a great day.